Okay, local low-level airspace. This is up to 10,000 feet. So I'm going to show you where you are. So in sunny Scotland by the sea, we are here. So you can see there isn't much showing low level. There's this stuff around here, which is the Aberdeen CTA, CTR, and the airline coming into Aberdeen down here. Over here, under 10,000 feet, you've got this danger area. But that's not really local. So this is where we are. So local to us, from Aboyne itself, you have the Aberdeen CTA. Now this is 3,000 feet above sea level, so 2,500 feet above the airfield. You're clear into here, into this area. This starts, I believe, at 5,500 feet, and this one starts 8,500 feet above sea level. But generally we don't go in here. You can, if you want to, and give Aberdeen a call, 119.055, and they'll talk to you. But generally going east at low level is a bad idea, and if you go south, you don't have very far to go south, and you're into that CTA. But again, it's 3,000 feet above sea level, so 2,500 feet above the airfield. And what that looks like in 3D is we're in this area, and if we roll it round, you can see here this is the CTA around Aberdeen, and this starts at 2,500 feet above the airfield, and this is the step down of the air lane coming into Aberdeen from London. So the base of this is 8,500 feet, and the base of this is 5,500 feet, and we are there. So you can see, if you need to, you can sneak underneath it 2,500 feet above the airfield, or call Aberdeen for access into that CTA. So that's where we are. Okay, dealing with the medium level stuff now, between flight level 100, flight level 195. There's not much difference, but there is some difference. And generally on a cross country in Scotland, this is the area you're going to be operating in. Much higher than 195, it's bloody cold and windy. Much under flight level 100, gear down and locked, you're going to be landing out soon. So this is your operating window, this is where you're going to be. So from this area, you can now see that we're really starting to be impinged to the east by the airline going into Aberdeen. You can cross this if you need to, but it's a very, very busy airline. Roughly in this sort of area, the airline is controlled by Scottish, and you can talk to them at this level on 124.500 or 124.505 when they change over, and they will grant you access across the airline if you need it, but you will have a delay. But you can get across there if you need to. To the west, you're now starting to see November 560 showing up as part of your navigation. I'll show you on the 3D, but there's an interesting little cutout in November 560 here, and this is Fishy's assigned area. You can fly in this without a transponder if you're flying out of Fishy, and they've got they have opened that box with Scottish Air Traffic Control, and this box is controlled by Scottish on 127.275, and those guys control access across this. The rules are, if you have a transponder fitted and switched on, you may fly across this without talking to anyone. We don't do that. What we do in practice is we have our transponders on, and when we come up to this, we ask from about 5 minutes out the controllers on 127.275 if it's okay if we cross, because this can get really busy. And for local use, if we ask, they pretty much always say yes, unless they're very busy. So it's a good idea to approach this in lift, and if they ask you to wait, you're in a position where you can wait. If you're in sync and you need to get in there and your transponder is on, you can reply that you're unable to wait and you can fly in there. But the clearance that people need in here is different from the clearance in Class G. Commercial traffic has to be routed 3,000 feet above or below you, and it has to be 5 nautical miles clear of you here. So it's a bit of a pain in the arse to get separation on the commercial stuff trundling up and down here, which is why we, out of politeness, ask to go in there. But that's not the rule. The rule is you can switch your transponder on and fly in there willy-nilly. The guys at Scottish are very friendly, so we tend not to do that. You can at a push. I'd prefer if you were nice and ask them first. So this airline, I'll show you this in 3D. So here we are in sunny 3D with Mr. Wilson. You can see now as I zoom around, so to the west of us, you can now see November 560 up here. The southern part of November 560, the base changes based on the weather, what the controls have had for breakfast. We don't really know, but this can move up and down from 5,500 feet above sea level to flight level 115, I believe, and you'll be advised of that on daily NOTAMs if that's changed. We just assume it's open from 5,500 feet upwards and ask to go into it. The controllers on 127.275 will tell you what it actually is active at. So there you can see the airline coming into Aberdeen. Again, you can access across this. You can see that it's split up into different areas here. So this is crossing area Alpha, crossing area Bravo, crossing area Charlie. When you approach these, the controller you need to talk to is on 124.500. You'll need to give him at least 10 minutes notice to get a crossing across here. And this is Class A airspace. You can enter only with permission. But the guys generally will let you across it. You have to give them a fair bit of notice. Again, it's a very busy airline. There are flights up and down this to and from London about every 30 minutes. It's busy. You'll get across it, but give the guys notice. Okay, just a short addendum just on N560, which is this part here, or this part here. I'll zoom out a bit so you can see that. So this is N560, just this part here, with the small fishy cutout over, can you see? So it's Class E plus airspace, which is transponder mandatory. However, you can fly across it without a transponder if you talk to the controller on 127.275 and ask permission. If he gives you permission, you can cross. If you have a transponder, you can just switch it on and fly through there and nobody can say boo to you. However, that causes consternation because it's busy airspace, and we prefer if you'd ask first. You don't have to, but it's polite. And in Scotland, as you've noticed, we're all polite. So the other thing about this is that airspace separation requirements and VFR rules are different. So in here, the controllers have to give 3,000 feet vertical separation to known traffic and 5 nautical miles horizontal separation to traffic. And your VFR requirements are different. You have to stay further away from cloud in this to stay legal when you're flying VFR. Okay, now we're looking at the airspace, flight level 195 and above. What you're going to need if you're not transponder equipped is for us to have a NOTAM out the day before so you can get from flight level 100 up to flight level 195. But any day that looks half wavy, we'll have that in place, and there'll be a notice on the notice board outside the office that says whether it's active or not, or talk to Bob or Jakob or anyone around and they'll tell you what's going on. So the wave boxes, if you see, we have quite a few grey wave boxes around here. These are playgrounds for us. Now you'll notice a little one that's kind of scuttled in there. That's the local one that we tend to open quite a lot, and we get a lot of diamonds being gained in that area. Now where that actually is on the 2D map, and they're not hugely easy to see here, but this line marks the edge of that local wave box, and we'll open that initially up to 195, or we can open it to 245, and it depends on the weather, depends on the day, and depends on what you want. Talk to Bob or whoever's in the office and they'll open this one. But it's wee. Notice it doesn't go very far away from where you are. You're likely to be flying in this area over the lochs. Aboyne's there, which is not very far away. The edge of the box is not very far away either. So be very careful of position when flying in that box for diamonds. It doesn't go very far up. There's good lift in that area as well, but it doesn't go very far up. So be cautious of your position if you're flying in this wave box. There's another wave box down here that's opened by Port Moke. They tend not to open it very often. You'd have to talk to them to figure out whether it's open or ask in the air. This box, the big one, big grey one that goes all the way up to the moon, the guys can get that open for you. It takes us 2 hours to get that one open because it does interfere with cross-Atlantic traffic from London to the States. They tend to fly over this way. When we open this box, it needs to be cleared by Eurocontrol. It takes 2 hours to get it open, but we can open it if you want it. You know, the club record's there for the taking, so get the thing open, go for it. Again, watch the edges of it. If you're getting up this high, it's windy. Generally, the wind's going to be from the west. Watch this eastern edge. Don't get blown into it. It's not uncommon to have 90 knot winds when you're in that. If you have a moving map and it flips, be aware that you're not on heading up when it's doing it. You're probably going backwards when it flips. So those are the boxes, the high level ones. Open them at will. They can take a bit of time to get open, but that's what they're there for. Get them open, use them. Have fun, guys. It's cold up there.